Good
evening, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us. It's 4:31 on the dot. We're supposed to start by 4:30, and I would just like to thank everyone for making it here. This is the final day, closing ceremony. I can see a lot of people already here. I can see Nosa, Inta, Kristen, Ijoma. That's for the mentors that are present. Yes, and I can see Aminu. Thank you so much, everyone that's joined us already. We'll be starting now. And thank you to our mentees that are here. I'm sure that we are going to get valuable advice today that would propel us into all that we're supposed to do. Thank you very much. So over to you, Daniel.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you so much, ma'am, for putting together this platform. Without further ado, I would proceed to telling us about JIIPCC. I'm sure for the mentees who are here, it's not news. We're already accustomed to this wonderful organization. So our JIIPCC, an abbreviation for the Juliana Imam Intellectual Property and Creative Consults, is the founder of the JIIPCC Mentorship and Internship Program, which is a quarterly intellectual property mentorship program for law students, young lawyers, and intellectual property enthusiasts across Africa. Mentees are afforded the opportunity to access valuable intellectual property advice, training, network, mentorship, internship, discussion, forums, industry updates, and resource materials from experienced IP mentors. This program seeks to encourage continuous intellectual property training, development, and evolution in Nigeria, Africa, and around the world. Of course, we can follow the JIIPCC movements with the JIIPCC MIP on social media. You can also watch our videos by searching for JIIPCC on YouTube and Facebook. Now, the objectives of the program, they are to provide easy access to intellectual property guidance, training, and resource materials for students, young lawyers, and IP enthusiasts in Africa, to facilitate dialogue and network among experienced and less experienced intellectual property practitioners and stakeholders, to transform mentees and intellectual property mentors and leaders for the next generation of mentees, to facilitate further intellectual property mentorship, internship, scholarship, and IP-related job placements. That's who we have. We have some announcements. First, our announcement is that first, the JIIPCC mentorship for the January session, the registration is still on. So employ everyone. For those that will be passing out today, pardon to use that word, you can also encourage those that are close to you to definitely register for this beautiful program. You know, there's a saying, you know, there's this that if you have access to well and you can drink water from it, definitely you should also give others the privilege to also have access to the same well to quench their thirst. So please, for mentees that are here on this platform, I'm sure you gained a lot of experience. You gained a lot from this mentorship program. Please tell others about the mentorship session. The registration is still ongoing for the January session 2022. And also, yeah, so I think that is our announcement. I will call on Mrs. Juliana to give us our appreciation speech. I'm sure she will have a lot to say. But
Thank
Yeah,
you
you're
very much,
welcome.
Daniel. So it's not really like a long speech, but I would really like to thank everyone that has made this possible. All the mentors, all the mentees, the anchors, the moderators, and everyone that has made this possible. Thank you. And I can see your lovely faces. For those who put their videos on, thank you very much for staying from the first week up till this 9th week. I'm sure that you've learned a lot, because personally, when I was starting this practice, I didn't have so much guidance, but that's one of the reasons why we have this, so that you can learn. And it's also good that you have the option of getting to meet these mentors one-on-one. So if you see any mentor that you really like and you think that you would really like to pattern your life or pattern your practice the way you see that person, it would be good for you to take advantage of the one-on-one mentorship platform, so that you can talk to them as an individual and learn something from it. But aside that, I just want to say thank you to everyone who has made this session for the 4th quarter possible. And I would like to say that the registrations for the next quarter is open. So please, let's try to tell others to register so that they can also learn. And thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mrs. Juliana. For me, you definitely have personally benefited by enrolling in this mentorship program. And pardon me, I actually omitted that. Thank you for reminding us that the one-on-one mentorship session is available. So we should also try and sign up for it. Thank you so much. Without further ado, we have 2 keynote speakers for this for today's session. I would be reading out the profile of Mrs. Ekipen. Please pardon my pronunciation. I'm so sorry. Please, I don't know, please, if can we have a profile? Okay, thank you. Ekipen, I once again apologize, is an intellectual property expert with over 10 years of experience in the field. Called to the Nigerian bar in 2007, she holds a master's degree from Swansea University, Wales, United Kingdom, and she's an alumni of the United States of America International Visitors Leadership Program, WLP, on protection of intellectual property rights. Inter is a chartered secretary with the Institute of Chartered Secretaries and Administrators in the United Kingdom, and has a certificate in Copyright X from the Beckham Klein Center of Harvard Law School. Inter started her career in the legal department of the Nigerian Maritime Administration and Safety Agency, popularly known as NEMASA, and upon her return from her master's program, joined the firm of Ken Aha and Associates before joining the IP department of Alukan Weibo in 2012 until January 2020. She headed the IP and technological team of TMP from March 2020 to January 2021, and now focuses on building a boutique IP firm. She's passionate about her career development and gaining expertise in specific fields of law. She mentors a number of young lawyers. She was recently elected as the secretary of the Nigeria Bar Association, Lagos branch, which is the largest branch of the NBA with over 7,000 members. And she is the first female secretary in over 20 years. She is a fellow of the Nigerian Leadership Initiative. She enjoys traveling and volunteering in capacity building projects. Please, let's welcome our keynote speaker. Thank you so much for joining us. We are very, very delighted to have you in our midst, to speak to the mentees and generally to all of us. Thank you so much for joining us. Please, you have the floor.
Okay, so good afternoon, everyone. I hope you can all hear me.
Yes, ma'am, we can.
Okay, Okay, so Daniel, I'm going to start by pronouncing my surname. And I know that I know it's always a bit tongue twisting, but it's very easy. You know, my first name is easy. So if you think about NTA, so I have friends who call me NTA. So that's straightforward. And then Ekpiken, the KP is silent. I know this is an education for another day, but it's really not necessary. But it's entire Ekpiken. And I'm not a Mrs., I'm a Miss. So yes. I first of all want to say thank you to, I know I have 10 minutes and I'm hoping that I can do that. I can, you know, say all I need to say within the time allocated or even less. I want to thank Juliana for this opportunity to speak with us today. I understand that I'm going to be addressing, so what I've decided to do is to divide this set of mentees into three. So those who are in school, you know, the students, and those who are in practice on their own, so who have IP practices of their own. And the third group will be those in law firms, you know, who are in already IP, who are in departments of law firms, whether IP or otherwise. So that's how I'm going to address, I've just decided to categorize, you know, all the mentees in those three categories and address them as such. So first of all, I'm going to be speaking to the students who are mentees on the program. So I remember that when I was in uni, a very long time ago, I feel very old and of course not so old. It wasn't until my third year that I decided what it is I wanted to do. I knew that I'd always known I wanted to read law, but it wasn't until my third year that I decided that, all right, fine, this is what I wanted to do with my life in general. And between then and now, I have, you know, continued on that part. So I would like to say that those that have already identified what it is they want to do, you getting on this program as a mentee, telling yourself that you have interest in intellectual property already sets you up for what it is you want to do in the future. You're already on the right path. So I would say, well done. Keep at it. Like any endeavor in life, you may meet bumps on the road. Sometimes you may not really actually even, you know, you can't even figure it all out. In fact, there is no point figuring it out at that stage of your life. So the whole idea is that you continue to gain as much knowledge as you can, be diligent in whatever it is you're doing. I always tell all my mentees who are in university that they should strive as much as possible to come out with the best grades. The best grades ensure that you get the right kind of jobs. Yes, it's not really a guarantee for in Nigeria, but at least it gets you a foot in the door if you have good grades. So I would say, do all that you can to have good grades. Focus on, you know, just getting your good grades out of it. If you are in law school, please do all you can to have 2-1 if you can. You know, for those who can't, just do your best. You know, you would never regret doing your best. So for you to be on this program, for you to have actually, you know, registered to be a mentee, it means that you have interest and you already have you're already on the right path to doing the things that you want to do. So I would encourage you to actually keep at it, and everything that you're striving towards will get clearer as you go along. Then I'm now going to come to, I'm going to be addressing those who are young lawyers who have just either qualified and are either looking for jobs or are already in practices, are already practicing. So when I started practicing, right, again, I hadn't figured it all out. You know, I would say that for me, IP found me. I didn't actually go out on my way to say this is what I wanted to do. So, but if there's anything that I knew that I wanted to do was to be great at whatever it is that I was doing. So I would encourage, whoever you are, to just give it your best. Be good at whatever you want, whatever it is you find your hands doing, be good at it, give it your all. I remember my first week when I joined Alupa Noribody, and I didn't have any experience. I was joining, one of the largest law firms, and I didn't have any experience at all in IP. And my boss at the time gave me 2 files, and she told me, read this and give me an opinion on, and tell me what it is that you find. And I took the 2 files and I read it. And when I finished reading it, I told her what I thought, and I gave her my opinion. And that was the first day. She would tell me that was the first day that she knew that I was that I was good at what I do. So the whole point was that I gave it my all, from the time I was an associate to the time I was a senior associate to the time I was a partner. Every day meant that I gave it, I woke up in the morning and gave it my all. So I would say, you may not figure it out. You may not even know, the full picture of whatever it is, but it is the same principle in life. Give it your all. Try to be the best and try to do that thing that sets you apart from others. So, I was in an interview today, and before we got on the interview, I asked one of the why I was selected for the brief that has come, and the client says that it is because we just feel that you're different. So you have to find a way to differentiate yourself, because there's so many lawyers, there's so many good lawyers, there's so many good experts out there, but you have to find a way to distinguish yourself. And a few of us, most of us in the IP space, we all know ourselves. And Juliana would tell me how she reached out to me. It was because, someone said this, because I realized that the day that you are being talked about, you will not be in the room. So your work will have to speak for you. Your reputation will have to speak for you. So as a young lawyer, in whatever you do, know that, just be aware that whatever it is you're doing will have to speak for you where you are not there. So I would advise that you give it your all and make sure that whatever it is that is being spoken of you afterwards, it will be a good story. So that's me addressing, the young lawyers who are either, in firms, who are, looking for jobs and all of that. That is my advice, to that group of mentees. And then to the group of mentees who have their own practice, who are who have, whether like me, that have small practices, or if you're in partnership with other people, I would say that, I would also add to those who are, the young lawyers and all of those things, you have to hone your skills to a point where you can exchange it for money. There's really no point amassing, if your skill does not take you to a point where you can exchange it for money, then you haven't really gotten there. So you have to be able to hone your skills, grow your skills to a point where you can earn a living out of what you know. So you have to that's the point to which you have to take your skill to. Then to, those who have law firms, those who have their own small practices, I would say that, yes, it's not easy. But what I have found in my practice is building relationships. People get to do work with, so of course, most of us here belong to INTA. I have found that in INTA and in most of this associations, you have to build relationships. You have to know people, and it's just like building anything. People give work to their friends. People give work to people that they are comfortable with. People give work to people that, that they, let me use the, the new term now, they vibe with. So I would advise, that you build relationships. Like I was telling Juliana just this afternoon, that when I get into Abuja, I would, we have to sit down and have a drink, on one of the days that I'm there. you have to build relationship. That's how, you get to grow, because exchanging ideas, the world has become global now. This is our new normal. This is how life is going to be. Everything you need now is just a click away. You can reach out to whoever it is you want to reach out to and ask, oh, please, can you provide me with this? Do you know this? And all of that. But it's easier when you already have a relationship with that person, and it doesn't take a lot to build relationships. So our advice, and I think that advice goes to everyone across board. I'm a Christian, so it would be said that he that wants to have friends must show himself friendly. So it's whatever you give is what you take. So if you're going to be able to build and be successful, you can't do it alone. You have to do it in partnership. You have to do it in cultivating friendships, relationships. I know practically, most of the people in the IP sector, and that's because, over the years, because we will all meet, we will all see ourselves in different places. If I can't do the work, I'll have to refer it to somebody else. If I'm conflicted, I'm going to refer it to somebody else. So if I don't know you, if people don't know you, if people don't know you as, a warm, friendly, and, knowledgeable person, how would you get work? How would you get referrals? So I would advise, that we continue to build relationships, we continue to reach out, and we continue to grow, because we need each other. So I guess I will stop here. I hope I have been able to, stick within the 10 minutes. I have to jump to another call now, and I'm very grateful again for this opportunity. Thank you. And thank you. And I hope to see each and every one of you, wherever. Please just tap me and say, Nta, I saw you spoke at an event, and I'm happy to, have a chat. Thank you again.
Thank you so much, Ma, for that wonderful advice. Very incisive. Thank you so much, Ma. I believe the mentees and every one of us that are young in the profession are actually taking notes. Thank you so much, Ma. You've actually dished out a whole lot. I'll proceed to read out the profile of our next keynote speaker. Please, can we have his profile? Okay. Aminu Waklek. I hope this time around I got this right. Aminu is an intellectual property practitioner and an IP rights administrator with the Trademark Registry, Abuja, Nigeria. He's a senior assistant registrar. He holds a Bachelor of Law from the University of Jos, Nigeria, and a master's degree in intellectual property from African University, Zimbabwe. He also attended the WTO/WIPO advanced course on intellectual property in Geneva, Switzerland. He has a stint in private legal practice for a few years before joining the Nigerian Intellectual Property Office. He has held several positions at various times in Nigeria's Industrial Property Office, which includes heads of units, panelist of the Trademark Tribunal, and special assistant to the Chief Registrar. He has been on several national and registry committees and forums addressing intellectual property issues. Before Mr. Aminu takes the floor, please, we have a message from NTA encouraging us to go online and register on the INTA website. You can see that in the chat room, in the chat box. So, Mr. Aminu, please, you have the floor. Thank you so much for joining us. We are glad to have you here. Thank you so much. You have the floor.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Daniel Akinwale. Thank you for pronouncing my name correctly this time. Yes, my name is Aminu Waklek, as rightly introduced. I like to say hello to all participants and the mentees, especially. It's a sunny and hot, but beautiful Friday in Abuja, Nigeria. And I'm delighted to participate in this event. First of all, I want to congratulate the mentees on successfully completing the mentorship program. With this closing ceremony, my advice to you is that you keep up your interest in IP, sustain your interest in IP, because there are not too many people in the field. We are too few, and we need more hands. The IP ecosystem has a lot of fallow land waiting to be explored or exploited. So we welcome your interest in IP, and I advise that you sustain your interest and try to build careers around IP. My first encounter with IP is quite some strange story. I met IP on my present job. I think I would say I stumbled on IP. I never knew about intellectual property, even though it was offered in my university as an elective, but it wasn't a popular elective amongst students back in the day. I mean, people thought it was some boring course. People wrongly thought, let me say, it was some boring course. And then not many people took that elective. But I stumbled on IP when I got the employment to work in the National IP office. And then my interest started from there. And I think you are privileged to come across IP early in your careers, as at the point of being students and then new practitioners. It's a rare privilege, I think. And then I think it's you have a great opportunity to build a career in IP now. You have been introduced to IP. You have been privileged to be introduced. It gives you the platform to contribute to economic development. I believe most of us here are from developing countries, right? Are we all from developing countries? I believe we're all from Africa. Yes. Yeah. So IP gives us IP awareness, and being in the IP field, the ecosystem gives you a great opportunity to contribute to the advancement, economic advancement of our countries. And all of us agree, I'm sure most of us agree, that IP is a bedrock of industrial development or industrialization. Most of the industrialized countries in the world have successfully leveraged on IP. That is one of the major secrets of their successes, leveraging on IP. So I think for developing countries and least developed countries, there's a lot of work to be done in the area of IP. You're welcome to participate in doing all this work. And like I said, there's a lot of vacuum in the field. And an example of the some examples of the work to be done, maybe IP creation. I think we are really falling short in the area of IP creation in developing countries. I think in Nigeria, maybe in the area of copyright, I think that's the only area we're doing well, in the area of music and movies and copyrights. But in other aspects of IP, like patents and geographical indications and traditional knowledge and the rest, I think there's a lot of work to be done there. So, and then commercialization of IP, again, is another area where there's a lot of work to be done. Creating IP itself is not enough to bring economic benefits, but commercialization, taking it to the market, is what brings the economic advancement. Then there's lack of awareness. I just give an example with myself. how I was not aware of IP when I was in university and even as a young practitioner until I stumbled on it in the IP office. So we have people up to this day that come and say, I want to patent my brand name. And if my name is Imam, I want to patent it. And then it's not an invention. So a lot of people, even lawyers say they want to patent their brand name. And so it shows the lack of IP awareness. And IP awareness is one of the major issues because it touches every aspect, even enforcement. Lack of IP awareness encourages infringement, and then IP protection. We need to do a lot of work on IP protection, which borders more on enforcement and administration. Enforcement and administration are the tools of protection of IP, the major tools of protection of IP. We need to improve the enforcement and administration structures. And then we need to do law reforms too. Most of our laws are archaic. Let me say old school. They cannot advance a lot of modern IP objectives. They do not reflect modern IP objectives. And most of them were either inherited or verbatim from advanced countries at the time they were copied. And we need an IP laws that reflect our peculiarities in developing countries. So we urge you to come and join and do all this work. We also need IP policies. Many developing and least developed countries do not have national IP policies. And national IP policies are like a guide. They are what would guide the IP enforcement, the IP judicial decisions, and IP administration to a streamlined national objective. So IP policy is really, really important, and we don't have it in Nigeria and in many other developing and least developed countries. And also, we have issues in copyright relating to digital protection. There's a lot of copying and infringement with ease, copying and sharing of copyright materials with ease. In patents, we need to have more experts in the field of patents, patent attorneys, and patent examiners to carry out substantive examinations, which are very important. We do not have a geographical indication protection system in Nigeria, and we do not have a geographical indication laws. Our trademark laws do not accommodate geographical indications, and geographical indications are very important economic tools for developing countries. We do not, in plant varieties too, we enacted a new law in 2021 to protect plant varieties as intellectual property, but we need to find a balance between protecting inventors in the field of plant varieties, the big companies that invent the seeds, and then the interests of local farmers that have their local practices threatened by the new inventions by the big seed companies. Then in the area of traditional knowledge, we need to push again for the protection of traditional knowledge on the international forum. Traditional knowledge, again, is another area where developing and least developing countries can build, can get economic power from. So once an IP system for traditional knowledge is built, we are going to gain from it. We need to push for that and then build those systems in our local territories. Then I think those are the issues I want all of you to come and help us tackle. Like I said, we are we are few in the field and we need more people. So I urge you to all remain IP enthusiasts and build your careers around IP, and those that are already IP already in IP to continue to work hard. Continue to work hard, as they say. If you do a lot without being rewarded, the time will come when you will be rewarded without doing nothing. So keep on working hard and don't worry about the rewards now. Keep on improving yourself, keep on contributing to the development of IP. I want you all to be doers. As you graduate today, I want you to be doers and not just adding to the population of IP enthusiasts. You have to be doers. We need not just a population, a large population, but a population of doers, so that the harvest would be rich, even if the laborers are few. So on this note, I want to thank you, Juliana Imam, for inviting me to give this closing remark. And I thank you, Juliana, for being a doer in the IP field. I thank you for your immense contribution in the development of IP in Nigeria and beyond. And for the mentees and the participants, I would like to welcome you to the IP community, and I wish you success as you build your careers around IP. I pray that you shine like diamonds and stars, and even when you have limits, I pray that your limits begin from the sky. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, sir, for your advice. Very there are lots of lessons for we young ones to actually take note of and to succeed in the IP practice. Thank you so much, sir. I'm indeed very grateful for your presence and for your advice. Thank you so much, sir. I'll proceed without further ado. Thank you so much, sir. I'll proceed without further ado to invite Mrs. Uche Wonkocha to speak to the mentees. Actually, it has always been, it was actually awesome listening to her as a mentee myself. Ma, we are glad to have you in this closing ceremony. Please, Ma, you have the floor, ma, to talk to the mentees and actually to the young ones present in this Zoom meeting. Thank you, ma.
Hi, thank you so much for that intro. Firstly, I would like to congratulate all the mentees, because that's for you to do that, that means you're committed, and that's it's encouraging when people go out to learn and then seek more knowledge. So I commend you and I congratulate all of you for all your efforts. And I also congratulate all the mentors for making our time to come and then encourage the young ones, because as you know, very few universities in Nigeria offer intellectual property. So, but in a forum like this, we're all learning. I learn from them and they learn from me as well. So it's a good forum, Juliana. I joined the past speakers in thanking you that it's a good initiative. Well done and keep it up. So I'm going to advise the mentees. I think the first thing, I will use myself as an example, what worked for me. I think the first thing is preparation. I recall Steve Jobs said some time ago that if you are invited for a public speaking engagement, you needed to read your speech not less than 10 times. You need to just practice with your friends, practice in front of your mirror. You know, that's the only way you're perfect. So preparation is good. And we all know that in court, whether you're essaying or not, if you don't read your case well, if you come and the panel of justices start throwing questions at you, you will lose yourself in the process. So preparation is key. That's the first thing you do. Prepare for everything that you want to do and be ready. Don't just go out there, prepare. Time, you need to give time.
and resources to what you do. Then second, keep your lecture notes. It works for me at any level. In my first degree, even if I go for a program, even in my office, when I joined my law firm, I joined as a senior associate. When my bosses draw lines in my opinion, I keep it like a Bible. I don't throw it away. I read it, practice, see the areas where they've corrected me and do that. I'm not saying you should on all fours, because some people take a template and if a different matter comes, they use the same template. No, you need to use your head to apply yourself. But you read and see where you're making mistakes. That's the only way you learn. So you must keep all your lecture notes from first degree to master's degree to any level, because a matter might come up. Use it as a reference. I always go back to refer to them, and then even if I'm advising a client. And sometimes when we must cultivate the habit as lawyers to read everything. Sometimes I pick any paper, anything, I just read. So if I have a free time, I go and read those my lecture notes, and then I'll be smiling because law is interesting and intellectual property is particularly very interesting. And then you need to maintain your network of friends and connections. And that goes from your family, your church, your work, because you might meet somebody in church and that person introduces you to his uncle or cousin, and the cousin works in a company, and the network is like, that's why it's called a network. It's a connection. So you need to know, by the time you meet one person, you're likely to meet 10 other people from that one person. So you must build on your network. And some of us who have a bad habit, we all do that. You go to a meeting on a conference or you're given a card, you don't even look at it. You put it in your bag. And then you've lost track. You don't even know who this person is because you didn't make a conversation with them. Then you throw the card away. People pay for these cards. So the least you can do for them, just have a catalog of cards. I have it on my table. I know in my firm, there's hardly any jurisdiction we don't do work because we are multi-jurisdictional. But there are a few where we don't do work. And then people will write me and say, oh, do you do work here? Or do you have a connection? Do you know somebody? Of course, I go through those cards. There's so many that you go through. I know some people have engaged in logging these cards and then putting them in the software to make it easier. But you must keep your cards because you never know. When we go for conference, you don't go for conference and get work the next day. People will write me that I met 10 years ago. I don't even remember them again. So it happens. You need to keep that and maintain that relationship. So I think finally, I will advise the mentees as well as mentors and everybody listening, including myself. I remember the Harvard reunion in July, sometime this year. The president said, why waste a good crisis? COVID is a good crisis. Even though we're in COVID, we're on lockdown, people are making it. So you should not waste any opportunity, do something. Some people have taken time to write. Some have done other programs online. You need to just do something. Don't allow any crisis to deter you from doing something. You must make good of it. And finally, if you've left, you're leaving school now and you're joining a law firm, just give it time. Some people will just come there in a hurry, 1 year, nothing happens, you move. If you keep moving, you're losing. But if you stay in one place and endure, if you're not getting money, get experience, do something. And I tell people in my office that nobody sees you and calls you and say, come, let me teach you. You need to be your own teacher. You need to snoop around. There's a transaction that came in, you should go to your supervisor. I'm interested. Can I be part of this? Can I do research? Because as you're doing that, you're learning. Sometimes you have clients that will make inquiry. My team will make research, do everything, and the client never comes back. And I say, but no knowledge is wasted. At least you know it now. So it's always good. Don't just walk the corridor with everybody. Be different. And then so that everybody will really seek you out for what you know. And most importantly, as lawyers, we are told that God forbid that a lawyer should know everything. The ones you don't know, ask your network of friends, go to the library, make reference, read it. They are all there. So we must be committed to being good lawyers so that you justify your existence in every law firm where you're working. That would be all from me. Thank you so much for the opportunity and all the best.
Thank you, Ma.
Thank you so much, Ma, for another opportunity to learn from you, Ma. Thank you so much, Ma, for the wonderful advice. I'll proceed to call on Amala, another mentor in our midst, Amala Umeke. Lisa, you have the floor. We invite you to speak to the mentees and also to the young lawyers present in this Zoom meeting. You have the floor, ma'am, sir.
Sorry, good evening. I don't know whether you can hear me.
Yes, sir, we can hear you.
Okay, good evening. Sorry, I'm not feeling too well, but I'll just congratulate each and every one of us here. I say well done to the team. Well done to you, Juliana. Well done to all the mentees and of course the mentors that took out time to speak to everyone here. I would say that when people talk about IP, I would myself, I never did IP in the university. I never thought, if you ask me what I would have become in life, I would have probably stayed a finance lawyer. I never knew I would do IP. I have a friend, I think it's there, Mr. Christian. I mean, he did IP when we were in university. And I used to laugh at him. So I was telling him, Chris, so is it that afterwards you will now be chasing people that are pirating books? That's what you want to do. And I felt then that where the real money was dealing with issues relating to maybe, when you're in university, they will tell you about energy, power, all those high sounding where you're doing transactions. So I thought, that's where the real McCoy was. But as you can see, today I'm in IP. Am I enjoying it? Absolutely. I was talking to my colleagues earlier. One of the things one enjoys in IP is the fact that you do things. At the end of the day, you see them play out. You might advise on a particular protection or on a particular course of action. And at the end of the day, your advice should be able to influence whether a particular brand takes a particular action or not, or whether they roll out a particular brand in a manner or not. So it's something that I would encourage each and every one of us. Yeah, that's something Mr. Wackbeck said. And that is the fact that you don't have too many hands in IP. And that's one thing. I'm a young guy, so it's one thing which I found fascinating when I joined the IP world. And like I said, it's something I never planned and my master's, I think my master's in Mary wasn't even in IP. I used to work with a very big IP law firm, or a very big law firm, that has one of the prominent IP practices. I did the IP there only 2 months. I never, that wasn't. But really, there are few competent hands, and that's the point in IP. And it's so wide. You have patents, you have designs, you have trademarks. So you can find yourself specializing in one area, right? And I can tell you that the industry is so wide if you are competent. So, like Ms. Wokocha had said, I think the point there is for you to sit down and marry your books, whether you're a student or whether you're a practicing lawyer. because that is what will distinguish you in the industry, such that you then specialize in a particular place and you do it well, and the industry will know you for that. Personally, for instance, at least the people that know me in the market know me well for potential IP partners. You might decide that you want to specialize in issues related to patents, even though we don't have yet a proper patent system in Nigeria. You can decide you want to specialize in distribution. You can decide you want to specialize in everything. So it's best if you acquire the requisite skills, which can only come from deep reading and deep understanding of the concept, so that you can make sense whenever you are talking, right? And with that, you find out that you become competent, you then become an authority in the industry. And unlike other fields where you have to contend, I'm not saying that there are people who are quite good, that it's in there, but you will find out that you'll be able to always carve a niche for yourself within the industry if you become competent. So my advice, my last point would be that I employ each and every one of us to imbibe the knowledge that we've got this period. Of course, network, make friends, but most important, become. That is, you might be able to have all the connections and get all the contacts in the world. Mr. Pikem talked about Inter. But once these clients interact with you once or twice, and they notice that you're not, they will leave you. Or even if you're working in a law firm, and then your partner or your senior associate interacts with you and find out that you're not, they will not be giving you the very the work where you would actually do some level of intellectual exercise. So that is my take on this. I wish each and every one of you the very best in your future endeavors. Thank you very much. Sir.
Thank you so much, sir, for the insights. Thank you so much, sir, for the advice. Very, very instructive. Thank you so much, sir. I'll proceed to call on Mr. Christian, is another mentor on the call, to speak to the mentees and also other young lawyers that are present on how to succeed in the IP field. Please, you have the floor, Mr. Christian.
Good evening, everyone. Once again, I'm happy to have participated in this mentorship program, one of the various mentorship programs I've handled with recent times. I would say congratulations to all the students, the young lawyers, the young practitioners, everybody that had the opportunity of going through this program. And I'm very sure, at least I joined most of the sections, and I'm very sure you had one or two things to learn in at least one or two of the sections. It's a good opportunity. Personally, I've also been encouraging students to, register and join, and they must find something to learn. Just one comment from me. I know from my own little experience, one thing mentees have always asked me is, well, so what are the opportunities in, having IP as your expertise, or like in, following IP? What are the opportunities? Just like my friend, the last speaker, said, I remember when we were in school, in our final year, when we had to choose elective courses, I said, I'm going to do IP. The question he just said was what he asked me. So which one is IP? So I will now be chasing all those people photocopying textbooks around. It's like I don't want to make money as a lawyer. but today he's now a partner in charge of IP practice in his law firm. So that question keeps coming from so many students and mentees. What are the opportunities? What would they, okay, if they say they are doing IP, what would they, end up doing finally? There are so many opportunities. Let's even start from the base. If you are the type that likes the academia, want to be a lecturer and the rest of them, you know that IP is one of the specialized courses that you don't find in every university, just like the way we have criminal law, constitutional law, and the rest. If you do a survey, you find out that more than half of the universities in Nigeria, they don't do IP. I'm a patron to some IP clubs, and I found out that some of those schools, they don't have IP courses, and that's why the students on their own develop the IP clubs to cover that gap. And even schools as big as, let me not mention them, very big schools, federal schools, like, surprised to hear that some of them, they don't actually do IP courses. So with this kind of area, you find out that if you decide to major in IP and lecturing is your thing, there are so many schools you can, pitch, can propose to create this course and you take over. Now, if you want to come into practice as a lawyer, whether in your own law firm or in any other law firm, there are so many things you do. It's not, IP is not just about filing of trademarks, because that's what most some practitioners do. They think it's just all about filing of trademarks and patent, and when all that serious transaction comes, the person runs away. So it's not all about filing trademarks and the rest. You get to work on serious IP transactions where there are issues of mergers and acquisitions. Let's say Access Bank wants to buy Diamond Bank. IP issues come up. You do IP audits, you do IP evaluation. When a company or an IP tech company or a bank or whatever wants to take loan and actually want to use their IP as collateral, issues of IP audits, evaluation will come up, and IP lawyers will handle them. There are issues of counterfeiting in this world that we are now. A lot of goods, products have been counterfeited. People go abroad, see, products and even services, right? Like there's one who handled a company abroad, an e-commerce company, sell just like we have Jumia, one in US. And somebody just came to Nigeria, copied their name and came to Nigeria to start doing the same business. And of course, you know how these things work. Nigerians travel a lot. They travel to US a lot. And when you travel to US and you see that particular company come back to Nigeria and you see it, you will feel like, oh, it's the same company. And when I use them in US, they were good. Let me also patronize them here. But you won't know that these companies are different from each other. So you have anti-counterfeiting issues always coming up, where you have to advise your client as to the best strategies to adopt in, enforcing the client's rights, whether international clients, Nigerian clients. Most often you get to deal with international clients because they experience all these issues more. You have other transactions cutting across regulatory agencies like NAFDAC. At least to know that before you register a product at NAFDAC, any of the regulated products at NAFDAC, you must have a dealing with a trademark. At least you must have a trademark for that your product. So you sometimes also have issues of people registering similar names and the rest of them. So you have opportunities to work with or have interface with regulatory agencies like NAFDAC, like SOM, Standard Organization of Nigeria, like FCCPC, and the rest of them. So there are many opportunities. This is not even to mention the litigation aspect. You're going to court for passing off, you're going to court for infringement, be it trademark, copyright. If you listen or read the news, you read about so many cases. One recent copyright case where the person was the plaintiff was awarded 700 million. There was another one 300 million. So there are so many opportunities. So don't see it as like we used to see then. That's all about pirating textbooks and students photocopying textbooks, and that's not all about IP. Even in this era of technology, there are still IP issues surrounding ownership, technology transfer, patent registration, and the rest of them. So there are so many things one can do if you choose to, major in IP as a lawyer. And one thing you should do, even as a student, is to start building your expertise. Read while there are so many resources out there online. Go on Monda, go on Academia, even on LinkedIn, people post 1 or 2 issues all the time. So read, develop yourself, make yourself that expert. Even write. You read, you have your opinion, you can share your opinion, you write, you engage people on that. So make yourself, seen and known, build your expertise yourself, and you will have a very rewarding career as an IP attorney. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Mr. Christian. Thank you so much for your advice. Very instructive. Thank you so much. And also reminding us that IP is much more than just the filing of papers. And we all have to be diligent in what we do. Thank you so much. Thank you for also telling us the different fields of intellectual property that we can actually practice. Thank you so much. I also proceed to call on the next mentor, Mr. Nosa, to also speak to the mentees and young lawyers that are present on this call. To also give us to also part his mind to us. Mr. Nosa, you have the floor to speak to us. We are delighted to have you on this call, sir.
Thank you, Daniel. Can everyone hear me and see me?
Yes, sir.
Everyone hear me and see me?
Yes, we can.
Yes, we can. Yes, we can. Welcome aboard, sir.
Good afternoon. Can everyone hear me and see me?
Yes, we can.
I can't hear or see myself.
I can hear you.
Can everyone hear me and see me?
Yes, we can hear you, Nosa.
Brilliant. Okay. I just said to Juliana. How are you? I just want to say good afternoon to everyone. I don't know if you can see me. I don't know what you can see. Can you guys see me? Okay, brilliant. I can't see any. I can only see Juliana, but that's fine. I want to say, first of all, congratulations, Juliana, first, for putting on this mentorship program. Yeah, let me just, I'll leave it like that. Congratulations. I know it's probably not easy. It's 9 weeks of your time inputting into students and reaching out to your network and pulling in lecturers and mentors and staff to input into the students. So congratulations, okay, firstly. Second, I want to congratulate all the mentorees that have been through this 9-week program. Now, I say congratulations because firstly, let me just say, guys, you are one step ahead of your peers, okay? Whether your peers at school, if you're law students, or your colleagues, if you're young lawyers and staff, or whatever you're into, you want to be ahead because they've not been on this program. You've been in this program, you now have in-depth knowledge, specialist knowledge about IP law in general and practice. And so take advantage of it, okay? You're one step ahead, take advantage of it. But the only advice I'm going to give, I only got about 5 minutes, is threefold. Firstly is, and I think the last speaker mentioned it, continue to educate yourself. In law, continued education is key. Don't think now you've done this 9-week course, so therefore that's it, you now bona fide, you can now take on, big cases and stuff. No, continue to educate yourself, because in law, legislation changes all the time. There's always case law that you could use to update yourself and deal with a particular case that you've got that you can handle, okay? So continue to educate yourself. That includes not just courses like this, but going to conferences. For those that can travel out of your state, if possible, out of your country, and go to conferences, go to seminars, go to, just do courses, okay? The international trade bodies, for example, like International Trademark Association, they have programs and stuff. If you can attend in the States, attend it. If you can't and you can do it virtually, jump on it virtually and attend it. What I'm saying is invest in yourself. This is a great investment that you've done for yourselves. Don't stop here. Continue to invest in yourself. Okay, that's the first thing I'll say. Second thing I'll say is figure out, how would I put it, where you fit in and where you stand out, or how you can stand out in law. The industry is big, like one of your previous speakers mentioned earlier. Law is massive. IP law is massive and it's global, okay? There are new industries right now that didn't exist 5, 10, 15, 20 years ago. I'm talking about industries in technology. I'm talking about industries in the social media space, didn't exist 20 years ago. Industries in the streaming, DSPs, digital service providers, streaming platforms, in fashion, in technology, new startups all over the place, didn't exist 10 years ago, okay? They exist now, okay? So figure out where you fit in, where you feel most comfortable, and where you can stand out as a lawyer. I'm not based in Nigeria, as you know, so I don't know what the statistics are with IP lawyers in Nigeria, but I do have an idea, and I can say that they're not a lot, okay? There are a handful compared to other practices like criminal law and property and all the others. There are a handful. That makes you an expert, or will make you an expert in your field. So figure out where you fit in and where you can stand out. And finally, and for me, the most important advice I can give you as a young lawyer is integrity. Law is an integrous profession. That means that whatever you do as a lawyer, you need to remain integrous. That includes letting your words mean something. And it could be as simple things as, if you say you're going to do something, do it. If you say you're going to get back to a client, get back to a client. So you're going to take on a job, you're going to get the job done, get the job done. Good or bad, the result doesn't have to be the result that the client expected. That's why you're lawyers. But get the job done. Integrity, as far as I'm concerned, is the bedrock of a really good law career. Because behind you, when people are talking about you, like one of the previous speakers mentioned, you won't be there to defend yourself. What kind of lawyer are you? Are you a talk and do lawyer, or just a talk lawyer? Can people trust you? Can they trust their life, their business, their finances in your hands as an IP lawyer? Can they trust that you would get back to them when you promised you would get back to them, or you would follow up when you promised you would follow up on a particular case? So the most important thing for me is, as a lawyer, be integrous. It will keep you in good stead in the future, especially if you're going for judicial appointments or anything else that is in the line for you, for your long career that is ahead of you. And that's, I think I've just got 5 minutes, so I'll probably end there. Thank you for having me. Can
Thank you so
everyone
much.
hear me and see me?
Yes, we can hear you. Thank you very much, Nusa.
Out and clear, sir.
Sorry, can you say that again?
I said, thank you very much, Nusa. We
Brilliant.
heard you. Thank you.
Brilliant.
Thank you so much, Mr. Nusa. Thank you so much. We are very grateful for your advice. Thank you so much. We are so much grateful, and we are glad to have had you in this closing ceremony. Thank you so much. I'll proceed to call on the next mentor. I'll call on Regina to speak to the mentees as they prepare to carve a niche for themselves in the IP space. Please, Regina, you have the floor.
Hello, everyone. Hi, Daniel. This is Regina.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. So I'll just be speaking on an area IP. The previous mentors have laid sufficient foundation, particularly with Uchenwu Kocha, my boss. She had said that the mentees and of course everyone should do something. So I'll be speaking on procrastination just within 1 minute. And I want to encourage the mentees to, set a goal and work on it today. Procrastination has been said to mean delaying or postponing something, like moving it forward. I know we know that already. I just want to remind us, the mentees particularly, to try as much as possible not to procrastinate. It is said that procrastination is the grave in which opportunities are buried. So I'm encouraging us to start now, take that step today, that bold step that you need to take. Take it today towards achieving your set goals. Quit giving excuses. Quit procrastination. What is that thing that is in your heart, in your mind? You think of it morning, afternoon, night. Do it today. Do you want to further your studies? Do you want to build your career? Do you want to join another IP firm? Do you want to join in-house organization? The time to take a step is now. So as a mentee, as an individual, a student, a lawyer, IP practitioner, enthusiast, take that step today. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Regina, for telling us. Thank you so much for that advice. Very, very, very instructive, and also reminding us on how procrastination can actually stall one's progress in life. Thank you so much. I'm sure we'll all take note of that. I'll proceed. Before I proceed to call out the next mentor, I'll just quickly announce that Mr. Amino has graciously shared his email with us for mentees who want to reach out to him for advice and questions. Please kindly take advantage of this this opportunity. I'll proceed to call to invite the next mentor. I'll call Mr. Noka Aguda. I'll call on Noka Aguda to speak to the mentees and other young lawyers present to give us advice on how to to carve out our niche in this beautiful space. Please, Noka, you have the floor. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. I hope you can hear me, see me well. So first off, I would say well done to all the mentees for successfully completing this program. The fact that you are here already, I believe, is the right step. moving forward in your career and your life journey. To be honest, I would say most of the mentors have covered the basics, or most of the basics, but I will just build on one point I think it was Nosan as well and Ta mentioned in the beginning, which is carving out a niche for yourself. So the legal profession is wide, as we've heard from a couple of the mentors today, and IP as well is very wide because there are a lot of industries that are built on IP. So I think from the start, especially to young lawyers, it's important to sort of study wide on these industries and carve out a niche for yourself. Figure out where you fit in, which industry do you have strengths, which industry will your knowledge and your skill sets be helpful. That was particularly helpful for me. I chose sports. For others, it might be pharmaceutical, it can be whether you're dealing with contentious IP, it can be dispute resolution in IP, media, fashion. That's the beauty of IP. A lot of industries are built on IP. They cannot survive with IP. So meaning IP lawyers, the IP course that you're taking in uni now that might seem irrelevant is very, very useful. IP is practical in our daily lives. We see it every day. Many things wouldn't function without IP. So you as a lawyer, what role do you play in that? And as Inta mentioned that there are lots of lawyers, so what makes you stand out? And which is why I think it's important that you carve out a niche. Carving out a niche also means you don't just say, oh, I choose this industry and then you sit back. No, it's about learning. And it's learning beyond your legal knowledge, your legal understanding. You also have to read wide. You have to be commercially aware. You have to be business oriented. How does your industry work? How does the business, how do transactions take place? What are the in-depth knowledge and understanding that you need to understand in order to succeed? I believe when you have these two together, you're bound to succeed. Obviously with hard work and persistence and a lot of character traits that you need to develop as well, but you need to have those knowledge at your fingertips. And it's not necessary. I would say it's not important that any question you're asked in IP, in that industry, whatever, you know it. But I believe a good lawyer knows where to get information. That's important. So that's the thing about reading wide, because you already know where to look for. You already know what to read on. You already know where to search. Like I said, for my own session, I was really, really impressed that a lot of the mentees went to the JIIPCC website. I think that already shows you're very resourceful and you know where to get information. That's important. So build on this, try to figure out the industry where you fit in. There's no rush really. If you're a student, this is the student really, there's no rush. Just read up more on IP, read up more, read wide, not just IP. If you have other interests, that's fine. But try to figure out where you fit in, because currently in the global workspace, it's important that you come out being commercially aware, you come out being business oriented, being business solutions, approach methods. It's really, really important. And the only way you can achieve this is to, in addition to your studies, in addition to your legal knowledge, to also read wide and don't put yourself in a box. I believe once you take at least everything each mentor says here, put it to practice, I believe you're bound to succeed. I'm really rooting for all of you and hope I get to see the students become future colleagues of mine. If anyone is interested in speaking further or just general knowledge, not necessarily on IP, to the students, I'm always available. And well done as well to Juliana, an amazing program. And so I wish everyone good luck. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Noka. Thank you so much for the advice. Thank you so much. And I hope our mentees are actually taking notes of this advice. It is FOC, free of charge. Sometimes you might need to, you might need to have to pay for this advice. So please let's make optimal use of this advice. I'll proceed to call on the next mentor, Rita, to also speak to Rita Ariri. I hope I got her surname, I pronounced it properly. correctly. To also speak to the mentees and the young lawyers present in this Zoom call. Please, you have the floor. Sorry, we can't hear you, ma.
Sorry, we can't hear you. I think that she has logged off or logged out, sorry. So maybe we'll call on the next mentor while we wait for her to log back in.
Okay, I'll proceed to call on the next mentor. Okay, I think she's
Okay,
back.
so
She's
sorry
back on.
about that. Sorry about that. So I'll just go straight to the point. My advice for the mentees, that's law students or IP practitioners, is just like the previous mentors have said, you have to have a need for yourself, read wide. You have several career options in terms of building a career in IP, either as a policy maker or an advocate or creating content. So for me, basically, I started how I got into IP was through my undergraduate, and then I went ahead to do a master's, and then I worked briefly in a litigation firm before I worked for a virtual firm that specialized in IP. So I already knew what I really wanted to do in terms of my IP practice. I did not go to law school on time, so I used that period to actually build myself. And when I eventually went to law school, I decided to channel all my attention on IP because I did not want to just do a course and leave it there. And I also got to fall in love with IP during my master's program. So that interest kept building. And the firm I also worked in also helped build and encourage my interest in IP. My boss then, Senator Henry, will always encourage us to build on areas of interest for say in future you have a brief and they need an expert in that area, you really want to do that. But other than that, another way that I have put myself out there was to create awareness and educate people on intellectual property. So I started doing that through my mini blogs on I transformed into another media by starting an IP podcast, which has 49 episodes so far. And then I started my blog, proper blogging on Substack as well. So you have to figure out what exactly you want to do with IP. In the international space, you have IP practitioners that are specialized in various IP sectors and industry, whether it's the film, the fashion, entertainment, pharmaceutical or any other industry. So people of this industry know the basic governing laws, what people are looking at. So if you don't have those areas here in Nigeria, find a way to hone your skills, read widely, do your research, write about it, and that way you get to interact with people. Sometimes you get reference from colleagues or seniors. So just like this Inter has stated, the IP sector is small. Everyone seems to know themselves, if not directly but informally or indirectly, whichever one. But people are actually watching out there. And there's actually a thriving IP practice in Nigeria, especially now that the awareness is growing. So if you practice in a jurisdiction where IP is not well known, you can take it upon yourself to be the go-to person in terms of putting yourself out there, attending non-legal events. Attending events also makes you stand out from all the attendees or participants, because just a comment or two can also change the perspective of the people attending the event. Again, subscribe. What I've also done is subscribe to a lot of IP blogs, follow IP practitioners both within your jurisdiction and outside your jurisdiction. Make sure you're abreast with what's currently trending, both in Nigeria and outside Nigeria. Follow conversations, network as well. If you want to also or meetups or station. Now you have Clubhouse, you have Instagram Live, you have Twitter Spaces. So you can just set up conversations out there. You, at the beginning of creating having your niche, you should not focus so much on the likes and the tweets and the subscription. Just keep building your profile, and before you know, you start getting the recognition, the reference, or referrals from people. You might also be invited to speak at events. You might be part of the team drafting the policies. In as much as our laws are outdated, I know there are a couple of what's being done on the side. I don't know how many of us are aware that we have a Plant Variety Act that was passed in May that should have been analyzed. So you don't just look at what every other person is saying. You can compare, but look for something you can do to differentiate yourself, just like what Ms. Juliana is doing with her Instagram Live. Yeah, that's my own piece and advice for the mentees and the law students. Apologies for the noise in the background. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Rita.
Thank you so much for the advice. Thank you so much. And you are very, very spot on. I mean, the advice was actually spot on. Thank you so much. I'll proceed to call on the next mentor, Chiamaka, to please speak to the mentees and the young lawyers present here. Please, you will have the floor. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. Can we hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. Good evening.
Okay, so thank you very much. Thank you very much, Juliana, for setting up this program. I think it's very good. In fact, I'm a bit jealous that there wasn't anything like this when I was in uni or even as a young practitioner. We had to find our way by ourselves. So a lot of mentors have said a lot of things, which I believe are very good pieces of advice. I hope everyone is taking notes. A lot of grounds have also been covered. Okay, before I say anything else, I would like to congratulate the mentees. The ones that I spoke to, which was on IP and sports, they had done like a very good job covering the basics. So off of that, I'll say for anything that you're doing, always have a very good foundation. Do the basics well. That's how you can always build on it and have a good building. Like you've worked in teams and you've been able to come up with what you came up with. So don't discard the teams. Don't. That's how even the networking that we're talking about here starts. So continue, build on the relationships you have, meet from time to time just to talk about what is happening in the industry and all that. Some of the mentors have talked about that as well. A way to keep up with the industry is to keep up with news of what is happening, and from the news, you can always, do your own research as if you were the lawyer. What kind of advice would you give? What kind of advantage you think the person has, or things like that. Then, as every other person has already said, put in the work. Put in the work, doing your work with diligence and excellence in mind, like putting your 100 in everything you do, like Inter had said earlier. Always stands out. So in everything that you're doing, from the way you handled this teamwork, your group work, do everything well. And then I'll also say you have access to a lot of people now, like the mentors that have spoken before me. That's great access. And some of them have dropped their contacts. Everybody has said you can reach me at any time. So take advantage of that. That's standing on the shoulders of people that have done it, and if I dare say, giants. So that's a good place to see far from. So take advantage of that. From everything I've said, even if you don't remember all of it, just remember that I've said do the basics well, think global, are very good among your colleagues and wide in the industry you're setting out to join. Like even now, I think this year, yes, it was this year, it was the topic for the IP this year was IP and SMEs going to the market. So we know that every day there are a lot of startups and, you know, different things coming up now. So you're encouraged. Look at all these things, even if you're just following it from the news, but do your research and think of, if I was approached to do this work, what kind of work am I going to do? And with the access that you have, you can always reach out to somebody and say, oh, I was thinking about this and that. What do you think? How do I approach it? How do I set up? So in order not to inundate you with a lot, I would say you've taken the first right step, which is joining this program. So build from there. The world is your oyster, as they say. So the sky is a starting point. You can get to wherever you want, like everyone else. I'm on LinkedIn. You can reach out to me through other socials as well. If there's anything in sports and entertainment, even IP generally, I'm open to, you know, answering any other questions that you have or further discussions. So once again, thank you very much, Juliana, and congratulations to the mentees. Everyone do have a great evening. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ma, for the advice, the good piece of advice. Thank you so much. And also thank you for also making yourself available for the mentees to reach out to you. And so our mentors too have also made themselves available for the mentees to reach out to them. Thank you so much. I'll proceed to call out, to invite our next mentor, Amanda, to actually speak to the mentees and actually the young lawyers present in this Zoom call. Please, you have the floor, Amanda. Thank you.
Okay, hi, good evening. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. I can hear you.
Oh, okay. Good evening. Thank you so much for first of all making me a part of this. Congratulations to me for this. Like Mr. said, this is really a very big deal. I did, I think, one internship program last year ended, and so just like, you know, like drained my soul. So to think about money for this long with this number of mentees, that is a lot. So congratulations with that, and congratulations to all the mentees for successfully going through this program. So I'm going to stay rambling around a lot of things because a lot of IP units, a lot of people that are respected has spoken, and everything that I said is facts, so stick to it. I'll just add a little problem to what they say. And basically, I'm not like a typical IP lawyer. I five, so I picked a very small set of myself that's within the entertainment industry. So I'm going to advise you as an entertainment lawyer from how to pursue the career. Everything everybody has said is right, especially there's something Rita said about creating content and starting something. So you're in Nigeria, probably when you join the practice area of that, you realize that you must not keep yourself in the circle of maybe working for the law firm, not saying law firm, but that is not the only option you have. leader and Nigerian finance relationships. If you're able to put yourself out there, expand your brand, grow your brand, the social media space has made the world a global village. So literally, you can be in Nigeria, providing services for people outside the country and making your money. That's one. Two, you must not know everything. But like last one of the mentors said, you should know where to find it. Stay up to date with everything you need to know about the world, or not just that. I believe that you should treat your career like a human being, like how you treat a baby. You should be breathing, you should be related, people should be able to talk to you. If you think people already, there should be more people conscious, company conscious. So aside from providing services for your clients, not saying give personal to your clients, but build relationships, or those relationships are going to help in the near future. Once in a while, if you're an entertainment lawyer speaking, if you're an entertainment lawyer, step away from being a lawyer and go into the entertainment space. I think one of the things that kind of gave me an upper hand when I joined the practice field was the fact that I was already in the entertainment industry, still working in the entertainment industry while I was in school. So I've had an experience with the entertainers before I even joined as a lawyer. And that helped me a lot to know how to communicate with them, talk with them. Truthfully, those guys, most of them get very defensive whenever they hear what they bring right into the mix. That's why it's preferable to reach out to them as just maybe friends or someone they can relate to. So once in a while, come down from your whole high boots of being a lawyer and just go out, chill with them. I'm not saying one person to clients, but I mean like going to entertainment space and just enjoy the entertainment space as it is. Learn certain things that will give you an edge on how to treat contracts and how to do with them. Learn the lingo, learn how the entertainment business is going. The same way if you're going into the tech industry as a lawyer, then sit around those tech guys, understand how they think, understand how the business works. So it's not just about you drafting contracts between every related issues, registration, and all of that, but then you can also be able to communicate and have certain discussions and even know certain things that you're supposed to put in their contract. And might not be exactly in the law, but it's industry practice. Then all around, I just say that you start on top of the game as to reading, being up to date with your legal knowledge and everything happening in the IP space. Build relationships, both with lawyers, law firms, those in the academics, those in whatever industry you're focusing on, the pharmacy industry, the tech industry, the entertainment industry, creative industry, build certain relationships with them, understand your business. And above all, I think like one of the persons said, sky is the starting point. Congratulations. And trust me, this is a very, very good class. Just stick to everybody there, keep that application going, keep that whole thing building up. Because back when I was in university, I didn't even know the center like attachment, but I did IP. But I never took IP seriously because it was all abstract and actual practical. And it was when I came out, I started reading everything that length while I was in school studying IP. So now you have a better platform, you have social media, you have information on the internet. And another thing is not take lightly is even if I know sometimes when you get into practice, you realize that what you need papers, what you need in what you learn, legal knowledge you learn sometimes it's not what happens in the practical. Or rather, what happens in practice is different. So once in a while, while you're learning, also reach out to players within the field, reach out to practitioners within the field, and just confirm, get that additional knowledge. It will not cost you while you're in school and you don't need so much money to ask the lawyer, they just start with the lawyer. It's not necessarily working with their government, but they're paying you money and all that. But you can swap, you know, I think that shadow them, look at where they're trying to contract, look at where they're trying to settle businesses of theirs. That will give you a feedback and really get into the practice itself. So thanks so much for having me, and at this point, I'll see you.
Thank you so much for the advice. Thank you so much. Thank you, and thank you to all our mentors who have spoken thus far. I also proceed to call on the next mentor to speak to the mentees and the young lawyers also present. So I'll be calling on Mr. Ridwan to speak to the young mentees and the lawyers present on this Zoom call. Please, you have the floor, sir.
Hey, hi everyone. Good afternoon, or good evening, sorry. I'm just gonna show my face just so you to confirm it's not a robot. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, Juliana, I mean, you're doing a phenomenal job with yourself and your team, quite incredible. I tell you every single time when I get a message. And I really don't have so much to say, a lot has been said already. But I think the key thing is always to focus on being excellent. If you focus on being excellent, you're always gonna make a difference. You know, you can't hide value. It's always going to manifest one way or the other. And I think the incredible thing these days is the fact that people actually pay attention. You might be doing your thing in cluster, doing it bit by bit, it's not getting that traction. But every good thing takes time, they say. But people pay attention. I can really assure you of that. One thing I'm also big on is, you know, whatever it is you're doing right now, and if you see, especially if what you want to do is something that is kind of niche, which is maybe something quite common again. I mean, it's always good. I'm a big fan of going the road less traveled by, because I think it's always easier to make a difference there. You could either, you know, you could go either ways, you know, but then I'm a very big believer in that, because I think that's something that worked for me. And for those who are really familiar with my journey, I started out doing something when there was really no law for it. The law came, became a boom, it became a thing, and that's it. So it could be any of the emerging technologies that you're looking to, you know, see how IP intersects with, or any of the emerging issues that maybe not even an issue here yet in Nigeria. Do what you have to do. Be excellent. I'm not going to sell you dreams to say the journey is not lonely. It could be lonely sometimes, but I can tell you for sure, if you go the road less traveled by, you really don't need gatekeepers. You don't need gatekeepers. You don't need anyone's approval. Do all you have to do. And like I always say, and I tell people a lot, people pay attention. You'll be surprised. People pay attention a lot. You're always in your community. Community is always going to be very important. Community is not just, people who are not really accessible. There are folks like yourself that you end up growing together to. But then maybe having people who could also point to you or maybe share their journey with you. I mean, they won't tell you what to do, but then they could probably tell you maybe what could be helpful. At the end of the day, decision on whether to go or not to go will be solely yours, and you'll be responsible for those your decision. So like I said again, try and be excellent. Be lonely sometimes, it could be lonely sometimes, but then there's also the power in persistence. And one of the biggest questions to answer in life is, at what point do we stay persistent? At what point do we walk away? Well, I hope you find the answers. I'm really rooting for everyone here. I hope you find your chance. I hope you find the opportunity. I hope you find the ecosystem that supports your dreams. And I'm wishing everyone the best of luck. Once again, Juliana, thanks for doing this. I'm a very big fan of what you do, and it's really quite amazing, the kind of community you're building. Bye, everyone. I'm wishing you all the best always.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Ridwan, for the advice. Thank you so much. Actually spot on. I also want to call on Mr. Marks to actually speak to the young mentees and the young layers present. I'm sure that for the mentees, we all know Mr. Marks because he has always given us his time on this in every session. Thank you so much, Mr. Marks. Please, I'll invite you to speak to the mentees and the young layers present. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, thank you very much. And let me begin first of all by thanking the strong lady of the house, Madam Juliana, a superwoman by all standards and definition, for putting this together, sustaining it over the years, and even through up and down personal circumstances, she's kept this going. It's wonderful. And of course, I thank all the other mentors who have spoken. I suspect that Auntie Uche Nwokocha has left the call, but I must still acknowledge her. Like I would always tell every court of the mentees, when a magistrate is in a room and he sees a Supreme Court judge, he has to bow. So anytime I see Auntie Uche, I have to bow, because those are the people who have played IP at the highest level so far as Nigeria is concerned. Of course, I'm looking at all the other great mentors in the house. Oga Ridwan, who spoke just before me, by all definitions, one of the fathers of data protection and privacy in Nigeria. Of course, I also acknowledge subject matter experts like Amanda, Rita, Kristen, Amala, and the rest, and all the other mentors who have spoken. It's great to be in this kind of company. So that just will lead me to re-emphasize what a lot of the mentors have already said. The first thing you should note that you are getting out of this program is the network. Connecting with people who have already done a lot in the industry is a great advantage. And then, like I would always say when it comes to things of these matters, what this platform does for you is that it creates that first landing plan, that if you are chatting up any of these people tomorrow, you are not just coming out of the blues. They already have some basis to be able to connect and talk with you. I mean, I've already connected with a lot of the mentees. We chat on WhatsApp every once in a while, even spoken with some of them. And then that leads me to the next thought, which I was telling Juliana, that I found that this particular cohort of mentees are already very solid people in the industry. So a lot of them are just disguising. They are not mentees. They are already due to be mentors. So I particularly enjoyed this cohort, and I'll be sincere that even though I came to this cohort to speak as a mentor, a lot of times I myself was mentored. Looking at your slides, your presentations, the ability to break complex IP concepts into very simple steps. The ability to also look at IP within the context of industry, which is something I always emphasize. Because once you look at IP in abstract, you really will not get the most out of IP, and I think somebody already said that here, that IP goes a lot beyond registration of trademark and patent and that's about the primary, that's like ABCD of IP. The real deal in IP is, complex transactions, IP dispute resolution, anti-counterfeiting, valuation, and audit, and those kinds of more detailed work. So you should be aiming for that kind of area. But of course, you also should be aiming to become subject matter experts. So people like Chiamaka, who has spoken here now, these are people who have become principalities and powers. So far as the area of, as far as the area of, IP in sports is concerned. So you should be looking at getting into that kind of position. Understanding IP in the pharmaceutical industry, understanding IP in the in the entertainment industry, in sports industry, and understanding IP in the fintech industry. That's what you should be aiming for ultimately, because like I always say, those three industries, entertainment, pharmaceuticals, and fintech industry, if you remove IP from them, those industries will really be shaking and might not stand. So you should always look at IP in that context, try to always understand IP within the industry, what role it plays, and if you do that, then you'll be getting the best out of IP. So thank you guys very much. It's been a pleasure to be here. Of course, lots of you already have my contacts. If you don't, you can always reach out to Juliana. She has my permission to give you my WhatsApp number. Chat me up on WhatsApp. That's about the best way to reach me. And as much as I can afford to, I'll be available. You can also check me out on LinkedIn. But I try as best as possible to be very informal with people. I don't like starchy formal relationships. So just chat me on WhatsApp. Let's talk, let's laugh, let's joke around, and let's hope we can also work together and make some good money in the not too distant future. So thank you guys very much. Look forward to connecting with you guys some more. Thank you so much. And Daniel, back to you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Max. While we wait for Daniel, I'd just like to thank everyone, every mentor that has spoken. This would have not been possible without you. And thank you, my lovely mentees also.
Okay. Thank you so much, Mr. Max. For me, I always look forward to listening to you. Thank you so much. And I always say that it was through Mr. Max that I came in contact with Mrs. Juliana. And I think I always bless the day I asked Mr. Max a question on IP. So thank you, sir. Thank you so much, sir. I think we've called all the mentors. We'll proceed to call the mentees. We've heard from the mentors. I'm sure we've taken notes, myself inclusive. I've taken a lot of notes on the advice given by the mentors. So I would love to proceed to call on the mentees, and I'm sure you have some one or two things to say. You've learned a lot during the duration of this session. You've acquired so much from the mentors, and you have one or two things to say. You want to tell us how you intend to spread the gospel of IP, how you intend to contribute your quota to the IP space. I'm sure the JIIPCC is pushing out there, not to walk on the bench or to walk around the corridor, but to also be let me put it, superwoman, a superman like our dear host, Mrs. Juliana. So I would proceed to, pardon me, I might not call you, I'll just proceed to call on the mentees. I think Oni, if you can unmute yourself and to just talk to us within 2 minutes. Thank you.
Okay. If anyone is ready, you can just unmute yourself and talk, just in case the person that he called is not available.
Hello,
Okay.
everyone.
Can
you hear me? Good evening. Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. Good evening.
Okay. I am happy to be here. I want to say thank you to Juliana, Imam, and the entire team. Sorry, I have some kids around here. So, I may not know exactly, I may not know the entire detail of what it takes to be able to put this up, but I know that organizing events, it can be very challenging, and that one of the famous questions every organizers ask themselves is whether people will come. So, like everyone has said, I want to thank Juliana for the consistency putting this up. Thank you very much. And for all the mentors, investing into us. So, so many things I have learned while on this program. The first I would say is that it's humility to learn. Sometimes you think you already know stuff, and then you come and you are getting new perspective to things you think you already know. And that for me is instructing. So, yeah, meekness, humility to learn. And then again, beyond the IP stuff, there is leadership training. You see, every week we have to do rotation. Everyone has to pick, everyone has to get a bite of the cheese, so no one is left behind. And that will also help you develop leadership skills. And then there is communication, how you interact with your fellow teammates, or those of us who are the mentees. You want to be sure that you are talking with your mentee with respect, and yeah, communication is key. I also learned respect is another thing. Even when it seems as though your colleague or your teammate is not really getting it, or is barely crawling up the learning curve, it's not a reason why you should rub it into their face. You have to reply them or engage them with respect, honor, knowing that you all are team members. And then there is collaboration. These are the things and many more that I learned. Collaboration in the sense that everyone is given particular duties or assigned roles. And like I said, everyone will have the opportunity to have a bite of the cheese. And so it's not a reason why, if someone is relapsing or failing to do his or her role or take up an assignment, it's not a reason why you should immediately want to take another person's role, except where your intervention is is required, right? And then there is strategic relationships. I know all the mentors have been talking about it. This is a platform for me. I see this mentorship program as a launch pad, and for anyone who knows what he or she is doing, will be able to leapfrog or make a quantum leap from here. And then lastly, I just want to say thank you to all the mentors for your time, for your collective views. I have learned so much within the short time that we have. Thank you very much. Thank you, Juliana. Thank you, team. God bless us all.
Good, bro. Thank you for sharing your perspective with us. Thank you for sharing what you learned during your sojourn as a mentee. Thank you so much. I don't know if there's any other mentee that wants to speak. You just want to speak for the next 2 minutes. Please, you can unmute yourself, or also please introduce yourself and unmute your.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can. Please, you can proceed.
Okay, good evening, everyone. My name is Jessica. I want to thank Ma'am Juliana for putting together this beautiful program. I want to thank the mentors and my fellow mentees. It has been a very great privilege, and I am honored. I'm honored. This program so far taught me leadership skills that improved my leadership and my communication skills, also my teamwork spirit, networking, reaching out to teammates, getting on them, getting to know how far they have gone with their work and organizing group meetings. And it has also improved my research skills. And after this program, before now, I never really had a good foundation on intellectual property. I did it in my university days, but it was just like a 10-minute lecture for like both semesters, and we just need to read the whole textbook for that semester. So basically, I just read the part, not to know. So these 9 weeks, I have been grounded. I can say I know a lot about intellectual property now, and I intend to further my studies, mastering in intellectual property. I'm really grateful for this opportunity, and I'm so happy to have been here. And I'm also sharing the link to people that I mentor by grace of God, so that they can join the next quarter of this internship. That they can also learn from what I've learned. And I'm grateful to all the new faces that I've met, new friends I made in the course of this internship program. Thank you so much. I'm grateful.
Thank you so much. Thank you for sharing your what you also learned during your as a mentee in this beautiful and awesome program. Okay, and I know several mentees want to speak, so please proceed, unmute yourself, introduce yourself, and also tell us how you intend to use the knowledge you've acquired to advance your career in IP. Don't just also tell, besides telling us what you've learned, how are you going to use what you've learned to contribute to the IP space and the Nigeria as a whole. Thank you.
Yeah, good evening.
Can anyone hear me?
Proceed, we can.
Okay, good evening, Mrs. Juliana, and good evening, all my mentors. I first want to express my gratitude for even bringing up this program. It has been very enlightening for me as an IP enthusiast. I didn't do this course, I didn't do intellectual property in my undergraduate days, although I had always had an interest for it. So this was like a really good foundation for me, not just hearing from our mentors, but also having to put in the work to go and do research and work with my group members. It has been very wonderful for me. I had always had interest in anything concerning literary works and books, so that had always spurred my interest, particularly in copyright as regards IP. But this program has enlightened my knowledge on not just copyright, but trademarks, patents, a lot of other laws, even international laws. Right now, I still have a lot of focus knowing more about copyright laws, particularly as it relates to our jurisdiction. But I also think that I'm now open to find out new ideas in the future about other areas of IP, and I plan that I will be able to carve a niche for myself, particularly in copyright, and then extend it to other parts. But it has been nothing short of wonderful. I'm very grateful for this opportunity. It has been very rare. It has helped me even meet a lot of other young lawyers like myself and prolific mentors, and I'm very grateful. Thank you.
Thank you so much for sharing your experience with us.
Good evening.
We're also happy that you were part of this program. Please, if there's another mentee that is interested in speaking, unmute
Yeah.
yourself. Well, please let's do this orderly, with
Please,
orderliness, please.
can anyone hear me?
You can proceed.
Can anyone hear me? My name is Usman Sadiq.
I hear you. Proceed.
Okay, thank you. So mine is also an appreciation, firstly, to the Almighty God who have make this particular session to be a success. And also my appreciation also goes to Mrs. Juliana Himam for coming up with this type of initiatives. So we are really grateful. During the session, I've actually learned a lot of things. Initially, my thinking was that intellectual property is just all about copyright. Yes, why do you use my thing without my consent? That was my previous mindset about intellectual property. But with this particular mentorship session, I've been able to, understand that intellectual property is very wide. It's a very wider area of practice that even if you think you don't have anything to do, that means it's because you don't know. Yes, initially while I was in the university, I was not able to offer the course due to pressure from our seniors that one course is better than another, being electives. So I have to just go for the majority course then. But with other, other experience from other people too, I took it upon myself that I have to also find a way of having knowledge about this intellectual property. So I'm happy for the opportunity given, and I've really, really learned a lot. I also learned teamwork and, endurance as well. Endurance. So I give thanks to all the mentors who sacrifice their times and their resources to actually make us to understand a lot about intellectual property. So I say thank you. Thank you to all my colleagues too, who form teams together to actually come up with all our presentation throughout the session. Finally, thanks to Mrs. Juliana Himam, and thanks to our coordinator too, Mr. Daniel Akinwale. We are grateful for you. In fact, I've actually learned a lot of things.
Sorry, Usman, please, are you still on the call? You can't, okay. I think he has rounded up his speech. All right, thank you so much, Usman. Please, to the next mentee who is actually interested in speaking, just kindly unmute yourself and please introduce yourself. And if you can unmute yourself, please, and introduce yourself. And also, please, also tell us how you intend to use. I've not heard anyone say how they intend to use the knowledge acquired to outside after how they intend to use the knowledge acquired to advance their career in IP. Please kindly do that. We are actually interested, particularly myself, I'm actually interested in knowing. Thank you.
Hello, good evening, everyone. Hello, do I have the floor? Hello?
Yes, please continue, Sakira.
Okay, good evening. My name is Shakira Kantafaolare. I'm a practitioner, partner of this I'm a mother of two. And it's my pleasure to be one of the mentees in this particular quarter of the program. And then I'm sincerely grateful to Juliana Imam for this laudable initiative. And I've been practicing, and in school I didn't offer the course, just like almost everyone in the field now. So all of a sudden I just had the urge to delve into IP practice. So I reached out to Farmer Bongbe, and while waiting for his response, I decided to contact a colleague of mine, Ayade Tula. And about the same time, both of them recommended the program to me. So, and I think I had a very good chance, and I didn't regret signing up for the program. I'm very grateful, and I'm grateful to all my teammates too. So I'm a private practitioner, so I have the dream of delving into IP practice and making the best use of the opportunity and using my knowledge and my expertise, because I intend to broaden my knowledge in the area of intellectual property. So, and I have the vision of using my expertise to enlighten people and with my IP practice. So, it's my pleasure being here, and my pleasure connecting with every one of us here. Thank you very much for the opportunity.
Thanks so much, Sakirat. I think I'll just call on, so as to save time due to the paucity of time. I'll just call on Joy. Joy, please, if you are available to speak to us, kindly unmute. Okay. Joy, any form, sorry, I'm going to call you after Joy. Joy, please, if you are available to speak to us, kindly unmute yourself and quickly speak to us in 2 minutes. Okay, any format you can proceed since you've unmuted yourself. Just proceed. Thank you.
I really want to appreciate Mrs. Juliana Imam for this opportunity. I'm very grateful. Like the facilitator said, he said that it's Mr. Max that introduced him to the program. Similar, that's very, very similar to myself. It was Mr. Max that introduced me to JIIPC. And I'm really, really grateful to him, as well as to Mrs. Juliana Imam and all the mentors. So I really learned a lot during this program. And really, I got introduced to this program at a point when I was really, really curious about intellectual property. All I knew was copyright is a form of intellectual property. I didn't know much about trademarks, patents, plant varieties, but coming on board, I learned so much about all other aspects of intellectual property. And Mr. Aminu has listed some areas of intellectual property development that we can venture into. And I think my interest is in IP awareness. I believe that more people need to be aware about their rights, about securing their intellectual property rights. So through research and writing, I can really contribute to intellectual property development in Nigeria. So in all, it was a very enlightening and interesting experience. I really must appreciate my teammates. They were very, very supportive, and there was much collaboration in my team. So I really appreciate my teammates too. Thank you so much, Group 1. So on a final note, thank you so much, everyone, for making this possible. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And for me, thank you so much. I'll just proceed to call on Sogadi. Victoria, are you available to speak to us? Just kindly unmute yourself. In 2 minutes, please just speak to us. If I've not called you, I'll also definitely call you. Please kindly speak to us in 2 minutes, please. If you're available to unmute yourself, kindly unmute yourself. Thank you. I think
Can you hear me?
Proceed. We can hear you. Proceed. Thank you.
Can you hear me? Okay, I said I want to thank Ma'am Juliana for giving me this opportunity. Actually, when I heard about it, I thought the slot was completed, because on the fly I said limited slot, and I kind of registered late, but I was grateful to God for being able to be selected. Thank you, Ma'am Juliana. Thank you to the whole team for giving me this privilege. I want to thank Group 4 members also. They were awesome. The teamwork was really, really encouraging. Everybody supporting. I got tired at a point because, can't we just reach the week 10, week 9? But they were all supportive, and I plan on, I'm working on a kind of presentation just to put my knowledge of IP together. I tagged it IP for beginners. Like most people, I discovered most people in Nigeria don't even know anything about IP. So it's like a presentation work from what I've learned
from this internship program, kind of put it in a presentation format and share it on my LinkedIn page. And I also want to reach out to more to the mentors, because I need like a practical experience. I can't say I've known all that IP is about, especially practically. I did IP in school, I'm still in school here. So I want to reach out to the mentors for more experience. And thank you, Ma'am Juliana. Thank you, mentors, for reaching out, for teaching us, for advice. And that's all. Thank you.
Thank you, Victoria. Thank you so much. And I also encourage you to also take advantage of the one-on-one mentorship session by the consults. For you made mention of the fact that you need practical experience, and we young lawyers actually do need practical experience. I will encourage everyone, myself inclusive, to take advantage of the one-on-one mentorship session. Thank you. So, Jude, I don't know if you are available to speak to us.
Yes, I am.
Kindly do. You have 2 minutes, please.
Thank you very much. I'm so excited to share my experience about this mentorship and internship program. I always say that in this life, what I value most is relationships. And I was actually referred by one of my mentors, Senator Henye. And this program really equipped me a lot. It also availed me the opportunity to connect and network with other persons. Intellectual property law, I offered it as an elective in my 400 level in the university. And I never knew it's this wide until I came to this program. All I thought was trademark, patent designs. I didn't even think about how it can be applied to all these industries. But then during the course of these 9 weeks, it's really opened my eyes to a lot. And it's my firm hope that in developing my career, I will apply all I have learned here, especially to my goal is that I should grow to the point where I become a consultant to big organizations and even countries when it comes to matters of IP, IT, and innovation. And I believe this has also added to my goal. And I want to use this opportunity to also appreciate Juliana Imam for this great initiative. We hope one day to also be contributors, and to my team members, Joy, Jeremiah, Ofure, Mohammed, and Mahmoud. Thank you all, and thank to all the mentors, even those I've met in the course of this program, Mr. Max, Mr. Luko, and everyone else. Thank you so much.
Jude. Thank you so much for sharing your experience with us, and also telling us what you intend to use, how you intend to make optimal use of the knowledge you've acquired. I'll proceed to call on Elugene. Please kindly share with us your experience, and just speak to us within 2 minutes. Thank you.
Okay, good evening. Yeah, I'm available. Can you hear me?
We can hear you.
Okay, I just want to say thank you, Ma'am Juliana, for this wonderful experience. I really enjoyed it, especially the questions and answers. Like, I look forward to it every Friday, because the questions for my group is something that we always deliberate on. Like, I find myself and my group members always arguing about the question most times, and we always look forward to the answers. So I'm really, really grateful for this opportunity. And my plans for the future, I hope to start a career in IP. And no matter how you feel, like every week I come here and I just realize that there's something I don't know. I just have to learn more. So I'm so grateful. I hope to start a career in IP, and I love writing. I also hope that this will also facilitate me to start writing as it relates to IP. So I'm really, really grateful for the opportunity. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Elugene. Thank you for sharing your experience with us. I don't know those are, pardon? Okay, I don't know. I'm not sure if I've called Bumi. Bumi, have I called you? Okay.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can.
Okay.
You're saying something. Are you?
You have called me. That was the second person who spoke.
Okay. So kindly proceed and just speak to us within 2 minutes.
Okay, I think that Fumi said that she has spoken already. So if there's any other person who has not spoken, you can unmute yourself and speak. Okay, so I guess that everyone has spoken. Thank you very much, Daniel, for this for the moderation today. It has been amazing. And I would like to just thank everyone that is still on the call. Thank you. Thank you, I saw her. She's one of the sweethearts of this set. She was on like from the first till this day. She never missed a day and her video was always on. Thank you so much, I saw her. Thank you. Thank you, Elogene. Thank you. And so I'm just seeing your face for the first time, and you're a very beautiful lady. I don't know why you've not been putting your video on all this while. So you were just doing scarcity with your fine. Thank you so much. Thank you, Sekirat. I saw your babies at the back. Thank you for the sacrifice that you still made to come till this time. Thank you. Thank you, Victoria. Thank you for the time. Thank you for everything. Thank you, Gabriel. Gabriel too was quite consistent and he used to put his video on the first time, Sha. Thank you very much. Thank you. Who else? Bumi, yes. Bumi also even sent me like a particular case and she wanted me to crack it on Instagram. So it's very good when you meet people here, you can always meet them outside here and it's easy to relate. Thank you, Bumi. Thank you, Shukurat Amosa. She's already an IP professional, but she now came here as a mentee, but I'm sure that she'll be a mentor very soon. Thank you, Shukurat Amosa. Thank you, Jude. Jude too is someone that is very sound also. And thank you for always coming and also being an encouragement in your group. Thank you, Amaka Sandra. So I think I've seen your face. I'm not too sure. Yes, I've seen it, but your DP on WhatsApp is very nice. Great. So I'll just like to thank everyone. And then to the mentors, thank you, Mr. Marks. When I think about people that have stood by me and stood by the mentorship program to make it a success, one of those pillars is Mr. Marks, and I'm so grateful. Words are not enough to say how grateful I am. I'm so grateful. May God bless you on my behalf. Thank you, Nosa. I remember that Nosa was here for the first closing ceremony in March, and he's here today as a mentor. Thank you so much, Nosa. Thank you, Kristen. So I don't talk to you so much, but I've actually watched a video where I saw you dancing. So I know that you're a very social person. And immediately you put on your video on, the only thing I could remember was you dancing in the video that I saw, Mr. Kristen. So I know that you are a social person. Thank you, Mr. Amala. You are someone that a lot of people would want to be like based on your career growth and the way you've grown. Let me not speak too much English. Thank you so much, sir, for the time. And you also said that you were not feeling too fine, but you are still here. I'm so grateful. Thank you to every other person that is not here, that I'm not here. Yes, but thank you, Regina. Regina has always been here and she has always been very supportive. I'm so grateful, Regina. Thank you. Thank you, Rita. Rita was the person that introduced me to Mr. Max. If not for Rita, I would not know Mr. Max. And she's also a very sound person too. Thank you. Please, if I missed your name, I'm so sorry, but I just want to say that I'm so grateful. And what Mr. Max said is true. Your set has been the most amazing and interesting set. And I hope that subsequent sets will be even better than your set. So please feel free to reach out to any of the mentors. Some have dropped their contacts and the rest are on LinkedIn. So please feel free to reach out to them. Thank you. I love you all. Take care of yourself. Bye. Thank you, Daniel. Thank you so much.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.